Man marries triplets at the same time, after all three sisters propose to him. Stay with us to know all the assorted news. People say that twins and triplets are usually inseparable not until marriage. Still, a Congolese man, identified as Luwizo, has proven otherwise as he is trending on social media after leading three sisters to the altar on the same day. It is not common to see a man marry triplets and on the same day. However, you would often hear or see a twin marry a twin sister, as was the case of a Nigerian, Muhammad Alpha, who married twin sisters Adama and Aisha Malama on the same day in Bida, Niger State, in December 2021. A Congolese man is said to have fallen in love with triplets Natasha, Natalie and Nadege and agreed to marry all three of them on the same day in the Democratic Republic of Congo. A polygamous man has got hitched to triplets who he says proposed to him simultaneously. The man, identified only as Luwizo, had a dazzling wedding in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where people are legally free to marry more than one person. His three new wives triplets Natasha, Natalie and Nadege couldn't look happier during their big day in Kalehe, near the border with Rwanda. Luwizo said he couldn't say no when they all popped the question. He dutifully said yes when they all proposed, explaining that he felt that he was obliged to because they are triplets. The big day took place in Kalehe, which is a territory located in South Kivu, in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, near the border with Rwanda. But his parents are still not on board and refuse to attend.
Luwizo is my brother. I really admire.
Luwizo said that he first fell in love with Natalie before meeting her two other sisters. He exchanged vows with the three women in a private ceremony attended by close friends and family, though his parents didn't attend the wedding. He said, "I was obliged to marry all of them because they are triplets. It wasn't an easy decision because until now, my parents don't understand what I'm doing. You have to lose something in order to gain another. In addition, one has their preferences and their own way of doing things." One of the three said she and her sisters had shared everything since they were children and so sharing a husband was not a hard choice for them. "So I'm happy to marry the triplets no matter what others think. My parents despised my decision, that's why they didn't attend my wedding. But all I can say is love has no limits." He said, "I fell in love with a girl called Natalie, we met on social media, she was wonderful, I couldn't resist her beauty, and after some time we decided to meet. It wasn't that easy because I was in a working trip." He said he couldn't decline the proposals when they all popped the question. "I was obliged to marry all of them because they are triplets. It wasn't an easy decision because until now, my parents don't understand what I'm doing," the man said. He added his family didn't attend the wedding.
One of the sisters, it is unclear which one, was quoted in local media as saying, "When we told him he had to marry all of us, he was shocked. But because he had already fallen in love with all of us, nothing could stop our plans since we were also in love with him." She said, "Even though people considered it impossible for three women to share one husband, to us, sharing everything has been our life since childhood." Speaking on how they managed the situation, one of the triplets said, "When we told him he had to marry all of us, he was shocked. He almost fainted, but because he had already fallen in love with all of us, nothing could stop our plans since we were also in love with him." Even though people considered it impossible for three women to share one husband, to us, sharing everything has been our life since childhood, she added. The triplet bride said that their union with the same husband is an answered prayer from God. Today we are delighted, as you can see, because our dreams come true without being separated by husbands, but God heard our prayers. One of the triplets, Natalie, explained that he couldn't differentiate them, so they ended up falling in love with him. She added that since they have been used to sharing almost everything, sharing a husband was not much of a task. At first, when we told him that he has to marry, all of us became a puzzle to him. But because he had already fallen in love with all of us. Even though people consider it impossible for 3 women to share one husband, but to us sharing everything is our life since our childhood, she said.
Je te témoigne ma fidélité, amour, considération, respect, dans les moments de bonheur ainsi que dans les moments difficiles de la vie, jusqu'à ce que la mort puisse nous séparer.
Rendez-vous yetu nikaona il y a 3 figures, il y a même personne banafanana. C'est là où j'étais étonné.
After some time, I went back at her house to conclude our wedding. Unexpectedly, I met 3 girls with one face. I was very much surprised that I almost...
So I'm happy to marry the triplets no matter what others think. My parents despised my decision, that's why they didn't attend my wedding. But all I can say is love has no limits, he added. Mr. Luwizo said he faced backlash from his parents, who disapproved of his decision and did not attend his wedding. Nonetheless, he said he has no regrets. However, only one of his sisters honored the invitation to be present at his wedding amongst the rest of his family members. You have to lose something to gain another. So I'm happy to marry the triplets. My parents despised my decision, and that's why they didn't attend my wedding. But I can say love has no limits. So I'm happy to marry the triplets no matter what others think. My parents despised my decision, that's why they didn't attend my wedding. But all I can say is love has no limits, he added. He was confused when he met one of the triplets, Nadege, whom he initially thought was Natalie. The triplets said whenever Mr. Luwizo came visiting, whoever was around would receive him. So that was how the 3 sisters met and fell head over heels in love with the same man. They said, as Luwizo came by, we passed him on to one another, but he wasn't able to differentiate us. So we all ended up falling in love with him. At first, it was a puzzle, but nothing else could stop us because he was already in love with us. Mr. Luwizo was hit with the rude shock of reality that he had been seeing 3 different sisters for the proper introduction to kick-start the marriage processes with whom he thought was Natalie. He said, after a while, I went back to her house to conclude plans for our wedding. Unexpected, I met 3 girls with one face. I was pretty much surprised that I almost fainted. As much as I felt that I was dreaming, I asked them, amongst all of you, who is Natalie? They constantly said you never met with one girl in the first place. For the first time you met Nadege, the second time you met Natasha. The third person you met was the social media girl as Natalie. After 1 month of their marriage, we found them very happy and we wish them for happiness life forever. Hope you enjoyed the video. If any advice for us, please write in description box. We will follow your valuable feedback accordingly. Stay with us to know all the assorted news.